They found it in an attic, gleaming, untouched, decades old. A 1981 French coin, heavier than it should be. Strange markings hidden beneath the surface, and everyone who touches it disappears one by one. It began not with a whisper, but with a rattle. An innocuous sound, yet one that would unravel decades of secrets. The 1981 20 centimes francs coin slid across the dusty floor of the attic like a silent messenger, its golden glint catching the final rays of a dying sun. It shouldn't have been there, not in that abandoned chateau, not behind a locked room that hadn't been opened since the Cold War. Yet there it was, pristine, untouched by time, bearing the Marianne of the Fifth Republic. A symbol of liberty. But liberty for whom? The coin, made from aluminum gold and measuring 23.5 m, was never rare. Over some coin were minted in year. But this one? This one was different. The weight was wrong. It was heavier, denser, as if forged not by the Monnaie de Paris, but by something or someone else. Etched faintly around the edges were markings that didn't match the standard Republican mottos of liberté, égalité, fraternité. No, these were older, far older. Some said it was Latin. Others swore it was Occitan, spoken only in the southern shadows of France, long before borders were etched in blood and stone. Henri Machin, a retired archivist from Marseille, found the coin during the estate audit of the late Count Renaud d'Aubigné, a man known more for his silence than his scandals. The Count had disappeared under strange circumstances in 1982, shortly after a confidential visit from American and Soviet officials, an odd pairing during the height of geopolitical tension. His estate had remained untouched since, wrapped in red tape and hushed voices. But when Henri picked up that coin, he felt it, a pulse, a soft vibration, like the heartbeat of history trying to breathe again. Obsessed, Henri brought the coin to his old colleague, Dr. Lucien Armand, a numismatist who once consulted with Interpol on artifact forgeries. She confirmed its authenticity in part, but something wasn't right. Beneath the Marianne, faint X-ray scans revealed a second engraving, a lion, but not the kind found on French heraldry. This one bore a crown of thorns and a broken chain across its chest. It was a mark Lucien had seen once before, on a classified file buried in the archives of the Direction Générale de la Sécurité Extérieure, DG. In 1981, France was a nation bracing for change. Mitterrand had just been elected, the Cold War was cracking at the edges, and Paris buzzed with political intrigue. But beneath the boulevards and behind the glassy smiles of diplomats, a secret project was underway, one never spoken of publicly. Projet Orpe was rumored to be a joint economic operation between France, Libya, and East Germany, aimed at creating an alternative currency to challenge American hegemony. But when the Berlin Wall fell, so too did the records. Officially, it never existed. But unofficially, the coin may have been proof it did. Henri and Lucien weren't alone in their pursuit. Within 48 hours of Lucien publishing a vague reference to a numismatic anomaly in a scholarly journal, her lab was broken into. Files were taken, but nothing else. The coin, thankfully, had already been moved, hidden by Henri in the hollow spine of an old Jules Verne book. Yet even he was starting to see things. At night he swore he heard the clang of metal striking metal, like coins being minted in secret, deep underground. Then came the letter. Unmarked, no return address. Inside was a photograph, grainy, black and white, dated December 1981. It showed 3 men in trench coats standing outside the Monnaie de Paris. One of them, unmistakably, was Count Renaud. Another bore an uncanny resemblance to Vasily Kuznetsov, a high-ranking Soviet official who had died in 1990 under mysterious circumstances. The third man's face was smudged, either deliberately or by time, but in the Count's hand was a coin, the same 20 centimes, glowing under the lamplight like a golden eye. The trail led Henri to Berlin. In the shadow of the old wall, he found remnants of a forgotten lab beneath an abandoned railway station. There, hidden behind a false wall, were crates, each marked with the same symbol from the coin, the crowned lion. Inside were hundreds of coins, each bearing subtle differences. Different weights, different alloys, some carried micro-inscriptions visible only under electron microscopes. Names, dates, coordinates, messages. Lucien's contacts in Strasbourg analyzed one such coin and decrypted the inscription, 11 November. L'enfant de Dieu, mon doigt, chez moi. November 11. The child of two worlds must choose. It made no sense at first, but then they discovered something chilling. Every coin had a name, etched at the atomic level, as if forged with purpose. And one of the names, Henri Marchand. Panic set in. Was this mere coincidence? Or was Henri part of something much larger than he realized? He began to remember fragments from his youth, strange visits from men in uniform, sudden relocations, whispers of his adoption being a state necessity. Could it be that Henri was the child of two worlds, a product of East and West, forged in the crucible of Cold War secrecy? As November approached, more anomalies surfaced, power outages across parts of Paris, government databases crashing without cause, and more coins appeared, one in Lyon, another in Prague, and yet another in Tripoli, each found near old embassies or intelligence buildings. It was as if someone, or something, was activating them. On November 11, Henri returned to the chateau, the place where it all began. Armed with nothing but the coin and a tape recorder, he entered the locked room once more. Inside, the walls were lined with old maps, red strings connecting cities across Europe and North Africa. In the center, a single chair, and on the chair, a briefcase. Inside the briefcase was a letter addressed to him, dated 1981. It was signed R. It read, "If you're reading this, then the world did not burn. But the choice remains. This coin, this project, it was never about money. It was about control, influence, the ability to rewrite allegiance not with armies, but with economics. You, Henri, are not just a custodian of history. You are its fulcrum. Flip the coin. Let the world decide." With trembling fingers, Henri held up the coin. One side gleamed with Marianne, the symbol of liberty. The other, now visible in full, revealed the crowned lion. Two faces, two paths. The choice was his. But before he could flip it, the door slammed shut behind him. Authorities found the room empty days later. No Henri, no briefcase, no coin. Only the tape recorder remained, looping Henri's final words. "We are all minted by forces beyond our understanding. But choice is the edge that divides history from myth." The 1981 20 centimes France coin still exists, somewhere. Maybe in a collector's case, maybe in your pocket, maybe in the last place you'd think to look. But if you find one that feels heavier, warmer, alive, look closer. The past may be speaking to you, or warning you, because some coins are more than currency. They are keys. And some doors should never be opened.